Well, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? This is Coach Shakira coming to you. I have been a little bit busy over these last few days, but we had an amazing session. We had an amazing session today at the Sisterhood Summit. And so I want to share a little bit with you about what we covered over the summit. So if you have a young lady, if you have a teenager who's getting ready and getting started in life, then this session is going to be for you. So financial coaching, master your spending habits. I tell you, if people say that you're too young to learn financial habits, they're not telling the truth. The earlier that you can have a money mindset and then formulate your views on money, the better off that you're going to be. Today, I was in the room with 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and I wanted them to know a few different things. I asked them some questions about what they believe about money. What have they heard about money? What is their experience with money? So we're going to kind of dive into that today. I let them know that my background. So as you guys know, I've been a bank regulator, auditor, internal auditor, working with underwriters and underwriting for over the last 25 years. That's my financial background. Helped create policies on home ownership, mortgages and banking and real estate. I've trained hundreds of industry professionals on analyzing credit and income and assets so that they can better serve the community. I've helped hundreds of Americans reach their goals of home ownership through credit analysis and helping them understand their financial situation. Personally funded over 33 billion. And so while that is all true, I was also a teenage mom. By the time that I was 19, I had one kid. By the time I was 20, I already had two kids. By the time I was 27, I already had three kids. By the time I was 27, you guys, I actually had four kids. That's how the mind goes, right? Yeah. So by the time I was 30, I had five kids. And so while I should have been a statistic as a teenage mom, how did I avoid Section 8? And this is not to diss or discredit anyone who uses the services, but as a guide, how did I avoid Section 8? Food stamps. How did I avoid those items and was able to get myself into a better financial position? And I promise you, it was with money habits. It's from the early onset of learning about financial education and learning how to navigate and manage your money. So you're never too late to start because it's up to you. It's up to you to make that decision for yourself. It is up to you to make that change. There's a misconception about that money means that it's not a priority at a young age, and it should be. We should start thinking about this. The earlier we can think about this, the better off that we're going to be. I want kids to have exploratory conversations and develop the right money mindset about how we can lead and have control over our lives. Because even at a young age, if they need to start thinking that, you don't want to be 21 and then go, okay, now what am I going to do? This is how we end up having like a failure to launch, or we're not prepared for our adulthood. We can't be at retirement age and be 60 and say, okay, now what am I going to do? No, that started like 20 years ago. That started 15 years prior before you hit that date. It's the same thing with money management and us having these conversations. If we want them to be responsible adults, then we got to make sure that we're giving them tools and putting them in the right mindset. So what do I mean by that? I want to talk about values. On the screen, you see values shape your financial decision. Discover the connection between your values and your priorities and your financial goals. So earlier I told you that I was a teen mom. I told you by the age of 20, I already had two kids. By 23, I already had three. But my priorities, what I valued, is I wanted to make sure that those kids always had a good house with a backyard. A backyard is important to me. Having a safe environment and a good neighborhood with a backyard so they could just be kids. That was a value. Another value was that I wanted to make sure that they had a good education, because I knew with education, the sky was the limit, right? So I made sure that they always went to private school. So imagine being 19, 20 and paying for private school. But I did that because that is where I value. So my money went to spend on where my values were. The next thing, which was one of my values, was experience. I wanted to make sure that these kids had experiences, because the more experiences you have, then the bigger and the brighter your mind is. It expounds and you're able to put yourself and see yourself in different ways and in different lights when you're in different environments. The proximity of being and traveling and seeing new things. So that's where my money went. My money went for nice house, good neighborhood, backyard. They might not have had Jordans. They might not have had the newest things, but that's what they had. They had a private school education. They had that. Then they had experiences. So you want to ask yourself, where is your money going? What are your values? And what are you spending your money on? Does your money match your values? Are you spending your money on your values? And we're going to talk about what are some of your values. I'm going to walk you through some of the things that the participants did today. And I think you're going to be blown away what we came up with. Money's not the goal. Like, you don't want to make money just to make money. What does that do? It does nothing. You want to be able to increase your lifestyle, your quality of life. That's what money's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you happy for your experiences. So that's what we want to talk about, our values. So understanding values, I explained to you some of mine. And here's a definition. Values are the guiding principles that shape our decisions and actions. They are intangible qualities that define who we are, not just what we want to be. We get so caught up in what we want to be and what we want to have. But what are your values? Who are you? I have some that are listed. And values are meaningful to each person. They influence how you prioritize your goals and align with your financial decisions about achieving a fulfilling life. So again, it's not for the sake of having money just to have money, right? It's about having goals and achieving what we want out of our life. Have you designed your life? Have you picked out a pen and said, this is what I want for my life? This is how I see myself. This are the things that make me happy in my life. We want to make sure that when you're spending your money, that it's going to spend towards your values and your priorities. So here's a list. Here's some different items about what your values could be. Look on the screen. Are you a hopeful person? Are you humorous? Do you value imagination? Do you value abundance? Or do you value self-expression, right? Do you value being able to have peace? What kind of things do you value, right? So I asked the participants today in my session for them to look at this list and think about what they value, right? Maybe you value education. Maybe you would value peace of mind. That's powerful. So let's look at this. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and you can pull up the screen right now, and you can pull up your phone just for the next few minutes and pull up this QR code. I'm going to give you a minute. You can pull up this QR code. All right, go ahead and pull up this QR code. You can put your phone up to it, and then it's going to get you to, and you can take a survey, and it's going to allow you to participate in with us right now. Okay. All right. So, financial coaching, spending habits, understanding preferences and financial behaviors. And I'm going to pause. Look at this. These are some of the values that came up from over 62 participants in just one of our sessions. This is powerful. And I'm going to try to, I'm just going to come to the comments and see if I have any comments yet. For anybody, if you guys have any questions or if you have anything that you were thinking about while I'm going through this presentation, you just let me know. So check this out. So you see one of the values here is self-care, right? You see that? Self-care. And it was kind of hard to see. We had the lights out earlier, but self-care is one of the values. So if one of my values was self-care, then how would my money go in spending on my value? Well, that means that I'm going to carve out space to make sure that the things that I am doing for my self-care, that my money is going to be spent on that item. Of course, we're going to budget and do these things, but if you have a value that is self-care, then you're going to make sure that you're spending in that area. If you have a value that's family, then your money should be spent on that value. What are some of the ways that you spend money on your family? Obviously, you're providing shelter. Maybe you're providing an experience where you guys are doing something together, like miniature golf. Maybe you went out and got a cake, and you just wanted to relax and sit outside and have some dessert, But your money is going to be spent on your values, right? Maybe somebody in your family is needing extra assistance because they're going through school. Is our money presently being spent on our value, and how much do we waste our money, right? This right here, traveling, this was somebody's value. So that means that their money is going to be spent on that type of experience. And these values help to say, okay, this is what's going to enhance, and this is what I want for the quality of my life. Because we're designing our life. It's not just by happenstance. It's not just it's not just going to fall in our lap. We have to be intentional about what we want with our life and how it's going to manifest. So I told you earlier about what my money was spent on. I could have been a statistic. Sure, I could have taken the Section 8. Sure, I could have taken the food stamps. Sure, I could have taken all of the assistance that was available. But I knew that it was also going to keep me at a different level. It was not going to give me the lifestyle that I needed, that I wanted for my life. So I'm asking you to design your life, design and be intentional about what you want and who you are. What are your values? Please, I want us to be able to think about it in this context. So the next thing that we went through when we talked about our values, and I'm just going to read a couple of these because they're amazing: empowerment, respect, adventure. I'm a risk taker. I'm loyal. Enjoyment. Someone loves enjoyment. Success. What would you spend your money on if you wanted success? Maybe I'm spending my money on additional certificate. Maybe I'm increasing my education in some way so that I can be successful. Maybe I'm launching a business, so I'm spending it, on products for my new business. How are we spending our money so that they match our values? Right? So then we went through this exercise right here. I asked, what have you bought this month? Where did your money go this month? Huh? Look at this. Man, their money went towards clothing, hair and nails, the food. Everybody was doing that Uber Eats. They were at the restaurant, the chain restaurants, right? So when I took a look at this, technology, their phones, their gadgets, look at the lowest level. The lowest level is the hobbies. Do you see how our values may be not matching up with the way that we spend our money? The things that bring you fulfillment and have you grow within yourself was the lowest level that people spent their money on. Entertainment and accessories. So we got food, we got accessories, and then we got clothing and shoes. These are all external items. These are all external. And if you ever want to take the quiz while I'm on the phone, while we're on live today, you just go to menti.com. You see it at the top, menti.com, and then you can just type in this code. So this is how you can be interactive with me if you'd like. And this is one exercise that I went through with the young ladies. So when we're looking at this, I have 3 questions that I had for the young people, right? There's 3 questions. My questions are, when we're looking at this, and if this is in a month, if you were to multiply how much you spent times 12, what would you have spent for the year? Whoo! What? What would you have spent for the year? If this is what you spent for the month, what would you have spent for the year? And what could you have spent that on if we were intentional about what we wanted and what our goals were, what our priorities were, what we wanted for our life? A lot of the time, money slips through our hands and through our fingers, and it still doesn't bring us closer to what we want out of life. And this is the point. This is the point right here, why we're bringing this up, just to show a little light, just to show a beacon. Is our money spending habits matching up with our values? The second thing that I asked, so if this was multiplied by 12 months, how much would you have spent and what could you do in your life? The next thing is, when this becomes your responsibility, when it's no longer the parent's responsibility, are you still spending like this? Are you prepared to take on your own accountability for all of your items? Right? Are we thinking in this manner so that we can be able to say, okay, how do I put myself in a light so that I make sure that I'm prepared to be responsible? Because we don't just get responsible. This doesn't just manifest itself. We have to create this. We have to create this. So this is what we're asking. What does that look like so that we can make sure that when we leave the parent's house, that we have some type of financial independence to support our own self? Because it's no one else's job to provide for us but ourselves. It's no one else's job to design our life but ourselves. And so we really want to be able to make sure that we're making plans and intentions about the life that we want. The next question I asked is, what's influencing you? And the parents, and if you're watching this, then you should know these are the things that's influencing our kids. And I told them, let me be real with you. I told you I was a banker. I told you that. I sit in on different institutions that give out credit, different repositories. And what that means is that I know for a fact is you're targeted. As a teen, you're targeted to spend money on trends, on influences, on brands. So then you have to be smarter about that and not get caught up this discount or that discount. You're still spending money on something that may not have been your priority or your goal, right? Real? Okay, so now that we know that, do we make sure that we talk to our kids about when they're starting to get closer to 18 and 19, those credit card offers, they're not coming to the parent's name anymore. They're coming to the kid's name, right? Because they are targeted. When you start going out to college and you start signing up and registering, for student loans, now you're hitting a database where like, yeah, how do we be responsible so that we make sure? And now this conversation helps align our values towards our spending so we can be more intentional about our money, right? And our decisions and our priorities and the quality of life that we want. We know for a fact that this is what's influencing. This is real-time results. This isn't something that Shakira just threw up here. These are real-time results. And if you have someone nearby and you want to see how they feel or what they're thinking, go ahead and go to menti.com, type in this code right here, and then you can take this quiz as well. It's only going to be up for like maybe the next 15 minutes. I'm going to get out of here. So, identifying the values. We want to make sure that they understand what the value is in their core belief that's going to help guide their decisions. Hold on just one moment. I'm going to pause real fast. All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys. Just needed to get this plugged in. All right, so going back to identifying these values. So understanding what your values are, reflecting on what's important to you. We spent the first half talking about what is important, what is your values. So remember that, keep that with you. Take time to identify them. Is education, is community, what's important to you? Align your priorities along with your financial decisions. Align your goals along with your financial decisions. The things that you value, the things that you've identified in life that you want, that gives you purpose and fulfillment. I want you to have purpose and fulfillment because you matter. You are amazing. You are amazing and you deserve to have everything you want out of this life. But we have to make sure that we're intentional about that. Be intentional. So we've identified some values. I want you to keep revisiting your values. Keep revisiting so that they're priorities, so that they're front and center. Here's some ideas of how to set some of your financial goals and how to honor your values. Make sure that your goals are intentional and aligned with who you want to be and your priorities. They're not just arbitrary targets, okay? Distinguish your short-term goals versus your long-term goals. Identify both. So for example, saving for a vacation or maybe long-term aspirations or buying a house, right? Have a comprehensive plan. And you're going to feel good when you meet the shorter-term goals, right? While you're still working on the longer-term goals, it's going to make you feel good because you're like, okay, I did this. All right. Assess the urgency in the importance and the impact. So be able to prioritize what is most urgent and what is most important and what is most impactful. This is how we create intention. Evaluate deadlines, things that are significant. Consequences that could come up if you do not meet a deadline or you do not meet a specific date. Okay? We want to have appropriate timelines. Use your calendars. I'm telling you, look, I have this calendar over here. I have another one over here. This is how you set up your goals. This is how you set yourself up for success. And then break them down so that they're manageable. You've heard SMART goals, right? Strategic, time-bound. You want to make sure that we're doing this, breaking them down into manageable tasks. Create a step-by-step action that goes down from larger goals into smaller, achievable milestones with specific deadlines. Put yourself on a calendar. Say, okay, I'm going to finish this by blah, blah, blah. Life is too important and time doesn't stop for anybody. So we have to make sure that we're using our time and our money in the right manner so that we can have, say it with me. What is it? Beautiful life, man. Beautiful life. Regularly review and adjust your progress. Monitor it. Stuff happens. Life be lifing, right? Yes. Okay. So then go back and then say, all right, how are my goals now realigned? I had a little hiccup. Let me go back. Have a plan. Break them down. Break down your goals into smaller. Have deadlines. Have a regular review of your goals. I want you to think about this. Use your money wisely. Make informed decisions about where you want to be. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, but make informed decisions and a plan about where you want to be. I really want you to help yourself have a purposeful life. When you can master your spending habits by understanding and implementing strategies that have been presented in coaching sessions, you can develop your skills to manage your finances successfully, setting the stage for a lifetime of financial success and stability. That's what we want. You want to use your money wisely and make informed decisions about where you want to be. So I ended up the presentation, and I'm going to share it with you. And I asked, what are some of the takeaways? What are some of the things that you received from this training? And they were amazing. They were amazing. The responses are, I'm going to spend your money on what you value. Yes. Always pour into yourself and your values. In just a 30-minute session, I was able to pull out from these young students these takeaways that they're going to carry forward. All we're trying to do is plant seeds so that we can have behavior modifications. We want behavior modifications so that we can have a more purposeful and quality of life. Just 30 minutes with me, and this is what we were able to pull out. One student said, spend money in a more responsible way. Do it now. Imagine that if your 17-year-old is moved to the point where they're like, do it now. That means that they're going to be out of your pocket sooner, that they're going to feel more confidence and more control of their life. Financial literacy and self-care go hand in hand. Yes, ma'am, whoever said that, absolutely. I will take away that it's never too early to start investing into your future and values. I love that. I purposely share my story with them. So while I have these accolades of having been a bank auditor and regulator and underwriter, a vice president of credit risk management, I was a teen mother. How is it that someone who, I'm Black, I'm a woman, I'm in hijab, and I did it on a high school diploma? How is it that I reached these levels at Fortune 100 banks? It was the intention. It was the learning. It was the having a plan. It was hard work and dedication. Don't let anybody outwork you. No one has more than you in intelligence, but they might have more aptitude and more hustle and more drive. So be intentional and have that drive about yourself because you deserve it. Look at this. I can do whatever I put my mind to. Never forget what's important. This is what we want. We want to be a guide and we want to help people make sure that their life is fulfilled. This was beautiful. This was just an example of one session. I did 4 of them today. And these sentiments that are on your screen, was sentiments out of more than 86 different students. So I promise you, financial coaching matters. Having these conversations early on can plant seeds. And I would love to help you, your family, your community, your church, or anyone else so that we can make sure that we have tools to be successful. I love this. I could keep reading some of their messages, but I'm going to get off now. Spending my money wisely and making sure I put myself first every time to get money. That I need to think about myself and values. I love that they understood from my session that it wasn't just about making the money. It was about who they are as an individual and what they want out of the intention of their life. There's nothing more that I could ask for. You can't wait on your parents for everything. Spend your money wisely. Let me throw a shoe. What? Who said that? Let me throw something, because yes, you cannot wait on your parents for everything. Spend your money wisely. Woo! You have to have a financial plan. Holding back on providing for yourself can stop you from seeing what you can prioritize with your money. How powerful is this? Oh, I'm so impressed with these students. This was just after a 30-minute session with me. Spend on things that you need. Spend on things that matter. Sales and discounts are a form of manipulation. Do you hear these words? Do you hear what's coming out? This is just after a 30-minute session. So buy as little material goods as possible. Focus on my values. Stop spending money on stuff we have that we need. Oh, with that right there, I love you. I love you. And I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. And please reach out to me and let's set up for some financial coaching. Please come to my workshops, invite me out so that we can speak, so that we can produce results like this, because I promise you it matters. All right? Take care, everybody.